Well, first of all, congratulations. That was an impressive fight. How do you feel?
I feel great. I mean, yeah, I mean, if I was kind of everything you would hope for, it kind of gave me an opportunity to go out there and work a game plan, face some adversity, and still come back and find a way to execute. So to see it play out the way that it did, I'm actually pretty grateful for it.
Is that the way you kind of pictured it going, or did you think you could get in and out of there quicker?
To be honest, I wanted to try to get his submission TKO win earlier in the fight, but shout out to D-Rod. He did a good job of adjusting from the first round to the second round, and definitely started using his jab very well. And it kind of threw me off guard a bit, trying to figure out how to close the distance and get the fight where I wanted to go. So he did a good job of adjusting to it, but it was just cool to see it come together. Like, all right, cool, that didn't go the way I wanted to. Forget about it, move on to the third round, and find a way to get it done.
What was said to you between rounds 2 and 3 to get that done?
It was a lot of fire being lit there. I mean, it was just more so like the coaches reminded me that about the choices that I make both in life and in fights in general, where I can choose to go out there and kind of coast it or ride it out or whatever. I can choose to go out there and really put it on them. And he just kind of reminded me like, hey, we didn't spend the last 8 weeks training for you to come out here and coast. Go out there and get it done. I know you have it in you. I know you can push the pace. I know you can find a way to win this fight. Let me see it. And that was kind of like the kick in the butt I needed to really wake up and kind of move forward and find a way to get it done.
And this might seem like a weird question, but I've never been in a fight, so I gotta ask: is it more difficult to secure a submission or a finish in the beginning of the fight, with less time to see your opponent, or at the end of the fight when you're tired and exhausted?
I think the end of the fight would be a lot more difficult. Well, it's like a two-part question. Early in the fight, it might be easier to get submissions sometimes because there's no blood, there's no sweat, so the guys are kind of locked in once you get locked up. But by that third round, it's like, all right, fatigue started to set in. There was blood everywhere. There was sweat coming out. So it was just like, man, he can slip out of these submissions pretty, not easily, but a lot more yeah, I guess easy. He can slip out the submission a lot easier because of the sweat and blood and that kind of thing. So it definitely makes it more difficult to find in the later rounds. But like I said, I wanted to find a way to get it done, and I wouldn't be content otherwise.
Was there any pressure on you with that record kind of looming over you?
No, one of the biggest things that had to come to terms with more recently is just kind of appreciate the guys that came before me and realize that I'm creating my own path in UFC. It's real easy to add to the mental pressure both in the fight and after fighting is over, where you feel like you kind of came up short or could have did better when you're constantly comparing yourself to other people. I believe George St. Pierre is the greatest welterweight of all time. It was cool to be able to get to the point that I had the most wins in UFC right now, but I just have to accept that his career is far different than mine. And I can't look at George St. Pierre's career and what he's done in this sport and feel like I fell short or I didn't accomplish enough or anything like that, because that's just added mental pressure that I just don't need. I mean, you listen to guys like Uriah Hall, where he stepped away from mixed martial arts, and he talks about the mental issues he's faced, like being in this dark space or whatever. It's like, man, I spent the last 15 years being a fighter, and now I'm just like a regular dude going to work or going to the gym. Like, this is a lot of pressure. And I feel like if I start to buy into the hype and could constantly compare myself to GSP, when that day does come for me to walk away from it, I may have a dark shadow over my head where it's just kind of like, oh yeah, you had an okay career, but you were no GSP. Like, I accept that. I know it. I'm not GSP. I'm Neil Magny. I'm carving my own name in the history books and blazing a path for myself.
And you called out Gilbert. Can you tell me why?
Yeah, I mean, I just love competition. I mean, you look at my last fight, I lost via submission, and it was a very frustrating loss for me. And Gilbert Burns is one of the toughest, or in my opinion, the best grappler in the division right now. So for me to go out there and test myself against another great grappler just shows like, all right, am I going to chalk up my last fight is just like, all right, it's a loss, you learn from it and move on, or am I just to say, oh, it's a bad night in the office and have an excuse? I feel like I did a lot of growing in that fight against Shavkat, and I feel like challenging myself against a good grappler like Gilbert Burns is going to go out there and show it.
How do you see a fight like that going with him?
Man, I haven't really spent more time to sit down and think about how it goes, but I guarantee we'll be an exciting one either way.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You talked about how they telling you not to coast, not to do it, when you're getting in there. How much were you able to lean on that experience of this long career in those moments, knowing what you needed to bring in that third round? How much of that experience of that past gets into your head and really drives you forward, and how much was that a difference tonight?
Yeah, I mean, in my career, I've lost 2 decisions out of all the fights that I've had, and like those 2 decision losses bother me than any other loss that I've ever had, because there's no, at least for me personally, the worst feeling is being backstage and feeling like, oh crap, I could have done more, I could have done this or I could have done that. It just boils down to someone outworking me or getting the best of me there, and that just doesn't sit well with me at all. So to really take the time and go out there and really focus on like, all right. Because like in training, for example, like there are times I'll spar 10 rounds in a row. Like, man, this is great. But my coaches have to keep reminding me, like, this is not a marathon. You're not going out there to run 26 miles. It's literally a 15-mile sprint or a 15-minute sprint. Go out there and give it all you got. There's no point of having extra rounds in the back. Leave it all in the cage. And I really started to like switch my training up to suit that, where I'm not doing 6 rounds a day, 7 rounds a day, 8 rounds a day. I'm doing 3 rounds, and I'm trying to empty the tank every single time. So even though there was some fatigue in the second round, going into the third round, I knew deep down that I can push for 5 more minutes and get it done.
And they're giving you these up-and-coming killers, you know, these guys on these streaks, you know. How did he play out as tough as you thought he would be coming in there? I mean, he was coming in there, I think, on what, 4-fight win streak, 5-fight win streak, something like that. Did he show to be as tough as he seemed going in there?
Yeah, 100%. He definitely showed up to fight tonight. He definitely kept me on my toes. I mean, especially the adjustment that he made in between rounds 1 and 2. It was great. It just shows his skill set as well. I mean, at the end of the first round, I was like, oh, I got this. I got his back. I took him down. He's getting bloodied up. I'm gonna get this now. And he came back, adjusted his game plan, and gave me something else to solve. So it's definitely some good adjustments on his part to really kind of force me to go back and adjust my game plan as well.
And then, like you said, you know, you had that last loss, and then you really invigorated. You know, when you went back to your training, you took so many lessons. So when you go in there and have a gritty fight like this, and they're able to pull off a nice win like that, how easily does that make you forget that last fight and kind of reinvigorate you going forward?
Yeah, literally, once I got the call, like I had another fight, I already forgot about the last one. Like, all right, cool, we're locked in, we got a next one. What does it look like? Literally sat with my coaches, watched some film, put a game plan together. I spent all my time and energy focusing on what that game plan would look like and envisioning what the fight would look like. So for me, it was just great to see it all play out the way that it did. I couldn't ask for a better night with how it came out.
And now, you know, you're sitting as the wins leader now. I mean, like, but in your mind, the end is nowhere near for you, right? Do you still feel like you're gaining skills, you're gaining strength, and that your career still has a long way to go from here?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I was having this conversation with DC earlier this week. Like, yeah, it's great to be the all-time winner or whatever else. But at the end of the day, I want the stamp on my career. I want to be labeled a champion for the rest of my life. And that's not something that someone's going to give me. I have to go out there and get it. So, like, I do appreciate the win against the win against Dan Rodriguez tonight. I do appreciate holding the record for the most wins in welterweight division now, but that's not the end goal for me, at least not now. Like maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I'm like, I look back like, all right, that was good enough. But right now, I still want to be called champion, UFC welterweight champion, and I definitely feel like I can get it done.
Well, if you keep fighting like this, I look forward to asking you questions then 10 years from now in another post-fight interview. Awesome. Congrats on the victory.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Neil, congrats on the big win. People, like, you know, trying to crunch the numbers, whatever, we look at it as like, okay, he's going to wrestle him, pin him, you know, just give that approach. Your game has evolved, and you also keep that standing. Was it kind of like also to prove a point, like, look, I've been in the game 10 plus, I'm well-rounded, don't assume what I'm going to do against D-Rod?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing that I had to make the adjustment for it. I mean, like, even though I took the gatekeeper comment from D-Rod personal, it was nothing against him. I mean, if I go out there and I fall short when it matters most and I end up being a gatekeeper, it's not because of him, it's because of my actions. So for me to go out there and fight to the best of my ability, that's what's going to start changing those narratives and that kind of thing, even when it comes down to, like, the odds and that kind of thing for people betting and that kind of stuff. So as much as I took it personal, the gatekeeper comment is literally more so motivating. Like, all right, cool. Are you a gatekeeper? If not, go out there and prove otherwise. And that's kind of like where I'm heading now.
For sure, man. And just to be clear, or for the record, there was a pick'em line right there. You guys were 50-50. So the sports books put respect on your name, and there was no favorite on that one. It was just, 50-50.
Oh, wow.
With this Gilbert fight, which would match up fantastic, like you want all the smoke in Brazil. Forget gatekeeper. You want to be a contender. Like, clearly this is going to be that path to get you right there for the belt, obviously.
For sure, 100%. He's the highest ranked guy right now that I say I can fight in the near future, and he's the biggest challenge for me right now. So I definitely want to go out there and test myself against a guy like Gilbert Burns. I mean, just kind of like the step in the right direction, so to speak. And I know I can go out there and pass that test. So for me, it's all about like getting it set up and moving forward from there.
Thank you, sir. And last for me, it was a tremendous fight, fantastic co-main event. You saw D-Rod breathing heavy. I mean, even us on the sides could spin, and like that's where you make those mental mistakes. As soon as he shot in on you, as best as he could, you almost kind of had that Verdun, Cain Velasquez match, like that smile Fabricio had, like, I got this. Walk me through that finish and how you knew to switch it up, though, from Anaconda, Dars, all that.
I mean, it really boils down to training. I mean, like I said, I've really focused this last few weeks of my training camp to really kind of dial in and focus in on what is my coaches want from me. It was like I was spending so much time doing specific drills, specific things or whatever, and to go out there and have the fight play out the way it did, it just looked like sparring all over again. Like it was literally like, all right, look out for this, look out for that. That's why the jab threw me off in the second round. I was like, oh, wait, he's doing a good job of countering it. Like, you're not supposed to do that. Like, this is how it worked out in training. But I was able to, like, trust my coach even in the work that we put in and kind of adjust to the adjustments he made and ultimately come out with the victory anyway.
Excellent. Congrats on the win, and good luck getting that Gilbert fight. That should be off the hook.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Cool. I appreciate it. Good night, guys.